So how do you pick a toner for someone and how do you cocktail them if they have like a little bit of yellow but still some orange? Like how do you know how much?
All right, cool. So I think you asked me this question a few days ago, and I'm glad you brought it up again because I would have probably forgot to make a video about it. So how I pick my toners, right? There's a couple things you need to be aware of. Are you toning to bring down a level? Or are you toning to just change the tone? So in the question you asked me a little while ago, if you are going from a 3 to a 6 and you want to use some of that remaining pigment, then I'm just doing tone on tone. I'm not bringing it down because I'm going to be at the same level. So I'm going to tone with the level 6, but maybe add a little more red to it.
Okay.
That's when I'm going to use the remaining pigment, and I'm going to use red to complement that. Now, when I'm lifting up to a blonde, let's say, and she's at that yellow-orange stage, right? And you want to use, let's say, a 9P or maybe a 9V. I think of how much of that orange is left in the hair versus how much of that yellow is, because you need a balance of both. So if she's a little more orange, then I would use a little more of a P or a blue-based toner. If she's a little more yellow, then I would lean a little more towards the violet. It's important to understand when you have that blue-based toner and she's a little more yellow, that extra blue is going to cause a really ashy look because blue and yellow mix green. So that's why you need the violet. Violets consist of blue and red. That's how you get violet. The two primaries make the secondary color.
Yeah.
That red cancels what? Green. So you're going to need a little bit of that violet in the back end. So it's just a little bit of color theory and a little bit of using your eye to kind of see how much percentage she has. And that would gear you towards, I used 50% blue-based, 50% violet-based. Now, if she's more yellow, like 70% yellow and like only 30% orange, then I would use 70% of a violet-based toner and then 30% of a blue-based toner because I'm controlling the remaining pigment and what's going to happen when that toner hits the hair. Okay. Using those toners and those percentages, let's say. Now, if she's too blonde, right? I lifted her out of the orange stage, right? Into the yellow, but she doesn't want to be that light. Now I'm going to not just do tone on tone, I'm going to bring her down to a level 8. So I'm going to have to use maybe a little bit of a neutral in there, let's say. So, because I don't want to make her too violet because you're canceling yellow, right? But she's a level 9, but I'm going down a level because she's too blonde. So you're going to want to have a little bit of that neutral just as a safety net. And this is where you get into the corrective color. It ties into this as well. So it's always a nice safety net to have and I use the GI a lot from Shade DQ.
Yeah.
I use some ends a lot if I'm a little nervous of her pulling too ashy because I don't want her to lift brassy. I don't want her to be brassy in a few months from now or a few weeks from now. So I'm lifting to a level 9. If I use a 9V on her and like a 9GI or my regular level 9 or 10 formula, she'll be too light. If I use an 8V on her because I want to bring her down to an 8 to cancel the violet, she's going to be a little too violet-y. She'll be a little, it will come out like a little funky, maybe like mauve color. That's where I throw in my N, just to kind of give me a little bit of a base. So I have a little bit of balance between all the pigments.
Okay, so then say for me, like a newer stylist, if I go in and I formulated a little wrong, like how could you correct it without letting your client know that like you screwed up?
Clients who are watching this, skip over this section right now.
Sorry, guys.
No, it happens, It's like, the cool thing about this is with color, it's very easy to tweak as long as you didn't make too big of a mistake. Mm-hmm. When it comes to cutting and you cut too short, you're beat. Your client's gonna know because she's looking in the mirror at you.
Yeah.
So you can literally wash it right away with like Dawn or some kind of really strong hand soap or like a detergent to break down some of that color. There's like a Malibu Sea makes a color extractor that you can do at the sink real quick.
Okay.
If it's a subtle difference of tone, what I like to do is either use a pigmented conditioner or a shampoo. If you got a little too ashy, I take Alpha Parf, makes a great pure pigment. I take a pump of a gold mahogany, throw it in a shampoo, whip it up, shampoo the hair with that, and that balances the tone for me. Okay. So it's important to know your tones and what cancels what. And you could literally usually fix everything as long as it's not a huge mistake at the sink.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to just kind of dry the hair and go back in there and lighten a little bit again if it's a big mistake. But most times you can fix it with the shampoo. As long as you're keeping your eye on it. If you put a toner on and you walk away and you do something else and you come back and it's been 15, 20 minutes, you're going to have a little bit of a challenge on your hands. So it's important to stay at the bowl and watch your client. Many times I don't leave, or I make sure someone's watching it for the first couple minutes. If your toner is going to grab right away and be too ashy or too whatever, it's going to happen in the first few minutes.
Okay.
If the hair's going to suck up that toner, you know right away. And you're better off washing it off, looking at it, and if you still need to reapply. Okay. You know, if you're not sure, take it down and then take a look at it. That way you don't have to run into the problem that you're asking me about.
Okay.
But you usually could figure out if she's too warm, use a cool tone shampoo. If she's too cool, use a warm tone shampoo. And that usually kind of is a nice buffer to get rid of those unwanted tones.
Okay.